Hello there, Lee here. This is my second Death Star 2 video. So let's see where we are. Is my glue gun in the way? Sorry about that. Right. So in the last video we made this. Hot glue always leaves rivulets behind, which would be great if I was making webbing, but is not useful for a spaceship. I need to get a brush. So I also made this, which is the opposite to these two together. So what I want to do today is taking this and forming that shape. I want to glue these two onto here. Like that. Now, it's not a perfect line-up, and actually that's fine, because it doesn't have to be. Any inconsistencies only add more story to the image. So I'm going to glue all over this side and then all over this side. So what we're going to do today is put these two on here, like that, so that it looks, you get a better image of it than me, like they are the two elements that I wanted. I may decide to add some bits, some pieces down there, because I have some spares. I have a few pieces just to fill that hole, because I don't particularly want that deep a hole in the piece. So let's slide, glue it, because if I don't glue it, it'll just come straight out. Slide that piece down into the gap, and this piece, I think. So yeah, how are you? How's life treating you? Are you happy? I hope you're happy. I'm being a little previous with my attempts to make this thing work, so let's stop and allow that to stick. And allow that glue to set. Okay, so I've got all these semicircles cut out. Sorry about that, my cat's walking around. I made 20 of these, I believe. That one's a big. I'll show you what I mean in a moment. Yeah, so how are you? Life is pretty good for me. Can always be better, could always definitely be worse. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cut there. So 2 more, 16, 17. If I put 1 in the middle and then 4 either side, that will give me the circular shape that I want. That I can then put the skin over the top. Nope, life is good. Life is. I've noticed I have some anxiety, possibly more than I had before going into hospital. But I can obviously live with it because I'm here talking to you. So yeah, let's go back to hospital. What was it like in the psychiatric hospital? At the moment I'm just going around this cardboard sphere, this circle that I've drawn out, and then as we're talking I will cut this one out and this will add to my pile. Well, I really enjoyed hospital. I really enjoyed psychiatric hospital. Okay, let's go for the negatives first. It was tough to be away from my people. It was challenging to not have my phone. And I know people will say, well, you don't need your phone in there. But I don't just use my phone for social media. I use my phone for keeping in touch with people. I use my phone. Probably the biggest thing I use my phone for is to get information. And not being able to find that information in there was a little bit, just cutting this circle out now, was a little bit difficult, because when I have something I want to work out, if I can't work it out, I'll go to something like Google what I need to know, and then come back. And with that, I couldn't do that. Yeah. TV shows that I watch on there. I watched 1 or 2 snippets of movies in there, but I don't. Watching TV for me is a very personal thing. I don't do it around other people very much, because I choose the shows that I like. So I've cut out this circle, such as it is. It's probably not a complete circle. Somewhere here I have put my long straight edge. In Britain we call it a ruler, because you rule lines down it. I don't really know why you rule lines, why a line has to be ruled. Let's have a look at this. Let's pull this back and see. See, now that's pretty solidly there. So if I want to add some more to this gap, that's a bit too much, but that's fine. Like I say, can you see the strings of hot glue? Yeah, that's what hot glue does. I actually think I'm going to add some more. I'm going to cut some more of those pieces to fill that space. I don't mind the space being there, but I like the idea of it being not quite so big. So yeah, I was out of contact in the hospital with people. I'm not in much contact with my family anyway, my British family, so that wasn't particularly bad. But how many have I got now? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. What I can do, this one that's a little bit too big, take one of my others and reduce it. So being in hospital in that situation made me cling to the people that were inside. It made me look out for them. It made me try to help them. That now gives me 18. Let's find some offcuts that I can use to fill that gap. I like recycling if I can. I like recycling a lot if I can. Now, pieces to fit in that hole, I think I need, I'm going to say 5, 6, we'll say even maybe 7. And they need to be fairly small. So let's sit and work out. I like the pen, but I think a black pen would show up better for you folks. Of course, the black pen has to work. Yep, so I'll cut that one out in a moment. I'll cut, it's not a particularly straight edge, but that doesn't matter, it's going to be hidden by the other stuff. Let's do that. In actual fact, let's take advantage of the spire. Yep, so I'll cut that one out in a moment. Another one here, this is a different thickness of cardboard. This is a more of a card than corrugated cardboard, which is what I have over there. That piece is a little bit big. Let's cut that in half and make out of it what we want. I realise I'm not following any particular set pattern of how to make this particular model. I'm doing it because I wanted to show you folks, A, that you don't need a lot of skill, because I don't particularly consider myself skilled at making these things, but also that, cut that out in a moment, that the nature of the shapes, etc., that this is taking really do lend themselves to being part of the final model. I'm not adding many curves to this section because, cut those out, let's cut these out, because there aren't many curves naturally occurring in human construction, and I want to represent that because the other side, the sphere, will be a ball, and the point of this particular spaceship is it's under construction, and the curves that they put on it are a later addition. The machinery tends not to work well with curves because of physical forces. Yeah, and that will definitely add to the appearance of being man-made. Yeah, so being in hospital made me tie myself to the other patients. It helped me. Their friendships, whilst not super encouraged, they didn't discourage becoming friends with me, with your people inside, but it was certainly considered unhealthy if you had an attachment to one individual. Oh, look at that. I'm trying to cut. I'm not trying to cut it, I'm trying to snip the metal off, and I've really failed. Oh well. It's certainly sharper than it was. I wonder if now, sometimes these instruments have a way to cut the blade off. I wonder if I've got something else that would do the job of cutting the blade straight. Not important. So those people are now a large part of my support network. I need to reach out to some of them because I didn't get numbers for everybody. You have to be very cautious with getting people's numbers in there. The hospital doesn't really like patients to be communicating outside of the hospital. I think that the thought is in case we cause each other to relapse. I actively take a role in helping my friends. Sorry about the noise. Children will be children. So that's not such an issue for me. So what did I like about being in hospital? Well, there's a number of elements actually. One is the relief that I'm going to get treatment. I know a lot of people are frightened of such places, partly because of the media, partly because they're worried about being out of control. But as much as I was out of control, I still had control, because if I wanted to leave, I could leave. I'd put myself in there. If there was something I didn't like, I could voice it. If something happened that I was unhappy with, I would voice it, and did often and vocally, because you've got to learn to advocate for yourself. Part of being in these places is that we need to learn how to advocate for ourselves, because generally mental health people don't advocate for themselves, often because the stigma of mental health is still very much part of our society. So I liked the fact that I was going to get treated. I knew I was going to get treated by professionals who had more experience in this area than I did. Because as much as I was the one with the illness, they had seen hundreds of, if not thousands of other patients with similar issues come through those doors. Nothing I could present to them was new or surprising. And that sense of knowing that the people that are caring for me in there really helped me with dealing with being in there. I was in there for treatment. I put myself in there. Now let's get on with it, was my attitude. I want to learn what I need to know for being in this treatment. And so let's make it happen. I liked the routine. Trying to stay on topic. Normally I would have a list of things I'm talking about, but really at the moment I'm just thinking out loud. Yeah, so I liked the routine. We would get up, we would have our vitals taken, which would wake us up. But interestingly enough, having your vitals taken was done in your room, so it was in quiet, it was in private, and as such gave me certainly time to wake up and come to. Now I know not everyone has that same experience. A lot of people had problems with sleeping and basically lived waking nightmares, which I did for a short time when I first went in. Once they decided I was going to be taken off of a certain med, which was a soporific, which helped me sleep. I liked the routine. We would get up, we would have I would have a shower before breakfast. Sometimes I would work out, but my paranoia was really giving me problems in there. And I really didn't want to be working out somewhere that I didn't feel safe. But sometimes I would stretch out and do stuff like that. I would then we go to breakfast, and breakfast was always a full meal, a drink, after breakfast we would have a meeting, which was really valuable. I don't think the value of that was appreciated enough by patients or staff. But we would sit and we would talk about our goals. What did we want to do? What goals did we want to set for that day? It wasn't a long-term goal thing, it was for that day. What did we want to do? And we would sit and make tentative, I'm going to say, plans for what we would like to do that day. I liked this stage. I liked this meeting. I was very heavily journaling at the time, and I was having a public meeting where I could encourage other people to form goals for that day helped me immensely, because by helping them I was helping myself. I was helping myself form my goals. It was making me think, because I couldn't ask somebody else to form a goal, a solid goal, if I wasn't going to do the same. Very valuable, very valuable. I'm actually writing a book about my experiences, and when that book is published, I'll come on here and let you know. Because psychiatric wards do have such a negative social stigma. I know people that would rather pretend that they were very sick and in hospital with something really quite dangerous than admit that they were in a psychiatric ward. I understand. There are people around me who have the same attitude. But take that old glue off. Yes, I have people with the same kind of attitude in my life. I have people that don't believe that I'm mentally sick, even though I've been diagnosed with such a thing. Yeah, mental health stigma is real. If you know someone who is mentally ill, then be kind, because not only are they dealing with being mentally ill, they're dealing with your attitude. If your attitude is bad, you're not going to be helping them. Anyway, get off my soapbox. I knew being in the psychiatric ward was going to be tough. I knew that. I knew that I would have to deal. I knew that I'd have to deal with the stigma of being in a psychiatric ward when I was dealing with people outside. When you're in one of these places, you're in crisis. You're not messing around, or most people are not messing around. More strings of hot glue. So let's let that. These are my 18. We'll let that stick for a while. Yeah. What you do have, we would have, so yeah, back to routine. See, I keep getting knocked off allow myself to knock myself off my train of thought. I would yeah, just checking it's still going, the camera. Okay, so I would go to a group first thing in the morning. We would have this team meeting about that's not stuck, although I like it. That hasn't stuck, but I kind of like the fact that it hasn't. So let's cut the glue strands all the way down, because it's too. The more curious I can make this model, the better. That's already heavy. That's already a couple of pounds. Now what I want to do is begin adding these sections. Now, having done this before, I know that the cardboard can become too thick at the base to allow for movement. I need to let that dry so it stays in place. Yeah, I need to, the cardboard at the base, at the center of the model, becomes thick, and then you have to then I had to adjust it to allow for that thickness. So that's glued now. So let's put some more pieces in that section. Yeah, so we would go to this morning meeting, talk about our goals, which was great. We would, then there was the option to go to a physical activity. Well, my paranoia was not happy with doing that, being physically active around other people in a place I didn't understand, a place I didn't know. So I very much tended to stay away from that. I worked out myself, so it wasn't so bad. I would stretch out, etc., in my room. So gluing these in, try to keep to the sphere, but the reality is I'm not going to get it a perfect sphere. I'm just not. And I actually think 8 may be too many. We'll see. From experience, you don't want to ram so many sheets of cardboard into the model that it distends the image you're trying to create. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we would have a break. They would call it snack, where you could go and get a drink and a snack, chips or something. So what I'm going to have to do is, if the sphere doesn't take as a sphere, see that one is a little bit too big. So what I'm probably going to have to do is be smart and come back and add sections, cut sections in it that detract away from the fact that it's not a proper sphere. It's a building site, so doesn't have to be perfect. And the more interesting the image, the more the eye will accept what's going on. Then we would have another, it was a group, it was a lesson. Don't get me wrong, they were teaching us skills for living. Very definitely. but I found those skills very useful actually. Hold on to that, let that dry. Then I'll come back to the skills for living, what they specifically were. Then we would have lunch. Then after lunch we would have a group of some sort, which would be another teaching session of something. And about 3 o'clock ish we'd have free time, and dinner at 5, and snack again at about 8:30. It sounds very regimented, but it really wasn't. People were, if you wanted a drink and it was out of sight of time, and someone was available to help you, because we didn't have just randomly have access to boiling hot water and coffee, etc. Because the nature of the people in there is you need to keep an eye on them. But having the routine, getting up I was waking up at about 5:30, would get up, write my journal, write some of my book. I would and as I say, spend a bit of time to myself, thinking about my day and planning my day. And then I would take my day, and then I would go to bed at about 9:30, ready for my next day. And that routine was useful. That routine helped me, because I can't talk about other people's experiences, I don't know. But it has certainly helped me it helped me to find a regular pattern, which is useful, because one of the things with my particular mental health diagnosis is that I didn't have a routine. And a routine means that things get done that can be done. So anyway, a routine certainly helped me so yeah, we have those semicircles now, and we can start putting on the other elements to put a skin over the semi-sphere. If you have any questions about any of this, put it down in the comments below, and I'll do what I can to answer them. I may not be able to answer them because I'm not a therapist, nor am I a professional crafter, but I should be able to help with some questions. So yeah, I'm going to end this video here, and then in the next video we will work on putting the skin over the sphere, and there is a certain procedure for doing that in order to create the effect that I want. You have a nice day, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye now.